Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. We're turning the page to Week 15 after a really fun Week 14. Oh, I loved it. Upset special again. 3 weeks in a row. Let's go, Jacksonville Jaguars. Sad news for the Indianapolis Colts, though. I didn't like seeing Daniel Jones hurt. I didn't want to win the division that way, but I told everybody, I tried to warn you on the show a couple weeks ago, the Jaguars schedule lined up better than the Colts. And the Houston Texans, once again, covered, and not only covered, but they won. Andrew, it was a really good Week 14. I'm flying high into Week 15. I'm excited as the playoff push is getting tighter and tighter. How was your Week 14 as we turn the page from one to the other?
Kyren Williams was under 16 carries, which is what my biggest financial bet was on, and that came through with flying colors. Blake Corum also scored 2 touchdowns. So it was a good week for me. And although, as a Patriots fan, we did want the Bills to technically lose, it does add a little bit more to this game in Week 15 between the Bills and the Patriots, where Patriots win. I believe that they can lock up the AFC East. So that game is going to be prime time. Can't wait. Going to be a ton of fun to watch because, I mean, that Bills-Bengals game, what a fun time. Again, snow, who cares? We're getting points in that game. That was another thing we hit on over. And it kept going up and up and up every time you checked. 55, I think, was the total that closed at. Still went over. So great to see it.
Well, that was the funniest part about it, Andrew, is I kept seeing that number go down in the morning. I'm like, stop with this. Stop with this. Like, the weather's going to impact.
The flurries, man. The flurries.
The flurries. Like, it's Buffalo in December. Did we not see Joe Burrow in the playoffs go there and have a million points?
As long as there's no wind, we're good. And there was no wind.
So I don't understand. I don't get it. It makes my head hurt. I don't understand. And you know what? How come that Bills game with the Patriots isn't prime time? It's at 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's flex that bad boy into prime time. It's so stupid. We should have that. But you were the one last week that was saying too. You're like, I don't want to win this way. I don't want them to just give him the hats. I want them to get him on the field. I want them to just get the hats.
I know, but again, you got to beat the big brother. And they did it already this year in Buffalo's house. Now, look, I mean, Josh Allen, when he puts the Superman cape on, he's really tough to beat. So it should be a good game, but hopefully Drake May can rise above it. Drake May. Let's go.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. All right, let's get to the games here. Let's start with Atlanta and Tampa on Thursday night. These two teams are kind of reeling right now. They are. Look, it's just going like Tampa just lost at home to the Saints. I mean, you could see it coming too. And you were on that one too. You talked about the Saints being favorites and not covering. Well, they didn't. So Tampa's 4.5-point favorites again this week. This time Atlanta is plus 6.5, the best number you're going to find on Betting Pros. 43.5 for the over, 44.5 is the under, and then plus 224 on the money line for the Atlanta Falcons. Look, this is a stay away for me. It's Thursday night. It's gross. It's in division. I'm just not touching this one. Andrew, how about you?
I think you have to take the Falcons plus 5.5 points. We don't like to bet on Baker Mayfield as a home
6.5
at plus 6.5. You don't take Baker Mayfield. That was part of the process last week when betting on the Saints. 8.5 points was too much to lay with Tampa Bay at home. Now, I know the weather did play a little bit of a factor in that game. It was rainy in Tampa Bay. But against a dome team, you'd expect that to benefit the Buccaneers. And that was really not the case. They have some more injuries on defense. And the Falcons, man, it was a tale of two halves. The first half, because I was on the under in the Falcons and Seahawks game, I'm thinking it's 6-6. I'm feeling great here. And then Rashid Shaheed returns kickoff for a touchdown. And then the Seahawks put up 35 points and the total gets blown out of proportion. So I think the Falcons defense is still pretty good. So I think that's probably where I lean on here. They're keeping it a little bit tighter. And traditionally on Thursday nights, what has been the most profitable bet? The divisional underdogs. So I'll take the Falcons with the points on the road.
All right. You know whose defense is pretty good? The Houston Texans. Everyone kept talking about the Kansas City Chiefs narrative to make the playoffs. What about the Texans narrative? Well, they were tired of hearing it. They stomped a mud hole, man. What a physical performance by that defense, too. Just Rashee Rice is still rolling around somewhere. Unbelievable. Houston Texans, minus 7.5. Arizona Cardinals, plus 7.5 in this one. 42.5 is the over-under number, plus 280 for the upset for the Arizona Cardinals. 7.5 is a bigger number than I'd like for the Texans. 42.5 is right, I think, correct, too. I don't know if there's any early value on this line, to be honest with you, Andrew. I'm leaning towards the Texans here. But still, Jacoby Brissett always worries me that somehow he can, in garbage time, just start slinging the ball to Michael Wilson to make up ground. But I lean Texans, but again, this is not one of my strong early value lines in Week 15.
I think I'm just going to bet the under. That's what you do when you play Houston Texans games. That's higher than the game was last night, which was closed at 41.5 points, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. And again, my favorite teasers was Texans plus 8.5 moved the total up to 46.5. That wasn't even close. That wasn't even a sweat, Joe. Like that one was locked in the bag. So I think that's another way to play this. You just move Houston, or I guess in this case, it's Houston's -9.5, so you can't really move them against the spread. So yeah, I would just bet the under in this game. Again, you're talking about Jacoby Brissett in the garbage time. We know how garbage time works, right? Eventually, the trash man doesn't come to pick up the trash one week. I think this is probably the week where the trash man forgets to stop in Arizona.
Speaking of trash, the Cleveland Browns are up next on the schedule. See what I did there?
Whoa.
Sorry,
That game, hey. They had a chance.
They lost to a 1-win team in their own building.
Shadur Sanders,
Stop.
4 touchdowns. It's pretty good.
Stop. That's like me walking around saying, look how good I played against like the 14U kids when I'm playing quarterback. Did you see that ball that I threw there? Did you see the 3 touchdowns I had in the scrimmage game when I'm playing the kids? I don't brag about it. I mean, I might walk off like I'm cool, but I don't brag about it afterwards. Cleveland Browns lost to a 1-win team in their own building. Sorry. That's bad. Yeah, Shador had some moments. Harold Fannon's a star in the making. 7.5-point underdogs on the road to Chicago after coming off of a loss of their own. 40.5 is the under, 39.5 the over, plus 320 on the money line for the Cleveland Browns. Now, look, my instincts say take the Cleveland Browns in the 7.5 because it's a lot of points. And I think I'm going to do that. And I think I'm going to find Caleb Williams to still make a couple mistakes because that's what Caleb Williams does. So that's my early inclination of this game. I think the 39.5 is also a little too low. I would take the over on this one as well. Andrew, any early thoughts on this contest between the Bears and the Browns?
So I'm actually on the other side here. I like the Bears at home. The Browns defense doesn't play nearly as well defensively. And how many points did they just give up to that 1-win Titans team? Over 30 points. And you don't think the Bears can score 30 points against okay, so to your point, you like the over in this game. Maybe that is the way to play it here at 39.5 points. But what do the Bears do against every team? Is they run the football. And how did the Titans score on the Browns? It wasn't because of Cam Moore throwing the ball. It was because Tony Pollard came back from the dead and decided, oh, I'm going to be an efficient running back today. So he was thriving in all the consolation brackets for fantasy because if you had Tony Pollard.
I sat him in a league and thank God I didn't need him, but I was just like, oh, I'm watching him with these long runs, scoring touchdowns. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Where was this all year, Tony
but that's going to be Monangai and DeAndre Swift this week against the Browns on the road. So I like the Bears here, but I agree. I think that the over, again, assuming the weather is somewhat decent, but if it's the ground game, then maybe it doesn't really matter.
All right. Another game, too, where teams are kind of not going in the right direction. The Baltimore Ravens, they are not working for the Baltimore Ravens this year. Cincinnati Bengals, also 2 terrible turnovers at the end by Joe Burrow. That game was well in hand for them, and they literally just handed it over, and that's not usually Joe Burrow style. So disappointed there, but not disappointing in the total. That was my bet of the week, and of course, I told you it was going to go in the 60s, and of course it always does. What are you doing here, folks? This is easy money. Easy money. And it kept going down. Anyway, Cincinnati, plus 2.5. Baltimore, -1.5 on the road favorites. 51.5 for the over, 53.5 for the under. -128 for the Baltimore Ravens money line. Plus 125 for the Bengals money line. I'll take the over 51.5. Baltimore Ravens defense is thoroughly unimpressive this year, and we all know how bad the Bengals defense is. So this is another easy one. Over 51.5, and just move on to the next one for me.
Agreed. Like the over. It's a Bengals game, so of course the over is in play, and someone's got to teach Isaiah Likely. You can score touchdowns, man. Like we can get into pay dirt. Rashad Bateman dropping passes. Just a tough scene for the Baltimore Ravens. But going back to what do we want to do when we bet on AFC North games? Bet on the underdogs at home. Worked last week. Again, last week it was the Steelers. That was the process play. Even as bad as the Steelers had looked, I know Peralta really liked the Steelers last week. And although it seemed like how is this going to work? Just the process, right? You trust the process. You bet on the AFC North underdog team most of the time. That works out. Cincinnati Bengals catching points at home against the Ravens. Why are they favored? I get why they're favored, but should they be favored? So yeah, I would go on the Bengals side, but agreed, the over is probably just the best play to make.
Just play the over. These two teams always go over when they play each other. It's just typically what happens. All right. Shout out to the sponsor of our show, and that is Hard Rock Bet. And they got big news. Hard Rock Bet is now live in Michigan. Sign up today. Place your first bet of $5 at the sportsbook. If it wins, you get $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings. And if you're in casino games, new customers can get $1,000 back in casino bonus. If you're not up money in the first 24 hours playing slots, you can win money and get casino bonus back as well. Plus, you also get 200 bonus spins. Winnings paid in cash. And if you're not sure what to put your first bet on, Hard Rock Stats Hub is here for you as well. It can give you stats and trends and streaks that will guide you in the right direction. So download the Sportsbook app today. Check out the legendary reward drops on Thursday. And whenever day you're listening, open up, because who knows what's sitting under the tree at Hard Rock Sports Bet app. Download it today. Again, $5 get you 150 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. Let's go to Los Angeles Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs. Now we'll see what the Chargers bring tonight. Again, we record this on Monday morning, so we'll see what Justin Herbert has. I need to see that before I touch this game. Just the early lines right now, plus 5.5 for the Los Angeles Chargers, minus 5.5 for the Kansas City Chiefs. 45.5 here is the over-under, plus 205 for the Chargers money line. My inclination is just take the Chiefs anyway at home against the Chargers. I just think that's a smart play. But, right now, the Chiefs have been reeling, and they need a wake-up call in the worst way. I don't know when it's coming. They're 6-7 now. Not in a good spot. They're on the outside of the playoffs, but they have to beat the Chargers in order to keep the playoff hopes alive here. And I think that desperation makes me lean towards KC early going. How about you, Andrew?
I like the under in this game. Only one game at Arrowhead Stadium has gone over the total 43.5 points. And based on the optics of this Chargers offense in its current state, with all of their quarterbacks banged up, offensive line is in shambles. Look, the Chiefs defense wasn't the reason why they couldn't beat the Texans. The Chiefs defense played really, really well against Houston. So I think this is a defensive struggle. And I would imagine that this number, 43.5, is much lower after we watch the Chargers play on offense against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I like the under here. I'm not betting on the Chiefs because they don't have Lady Luck on their side anymore. She's gone.
No,
she is no longer with
gone.
KC. She has found a different team. I think she's with the Chicago Bears most weeks. That's kind of what it's been like. So again, it's regression, right? The Chiefs' luckiest team last year. This year, maybe they're actually better than they were last year, but it's not helping them win games because they're not getting lucky in any of these one-score matchups. So, yeah, Chiefs, every week it seems like the Chiefs minus 3.5, right? It's like the field goal with the hook. Do you want to bet on them? And it just has not been profitable to back the Chiefs. So I'll bet the under.
All right, this is the primetime game of the week here, as Andrew said, even though it's not in prime time. The Buffalo Bills head to New England for a rematch here, plus 1.5 on both sides, the best number you can get. 49 is the over, 50.5 the under, minus 115 for the Buffalo money line, plus 108 for New England. Look, I'm just going to believe. I'm going to believe in the process. They've got a bye. They've won a bunch of games in a row. Defense has played very physical. And I think that's the difference, is this old style physical defense that the Patriots play. I don't think a lot of teams are prepared for. And I know people like the Buffalo Bills have rattled off a couple wins here, but I still feel like this is the confidence level, I think, of the Patriots is high, and it should be. The physicality in which they play, I think, sets a tone for these games, especially in New England. I think this crowd's going to be ready. This is going to be the biggest game in New England in 5 years, easily, at least. So I'm looking forward to this one. And it's not like the fan in me. This is the football guy in me saying that I think the more physical team wins this game. I think the Patriots are the more physical team right now. What are your thoughts on this, Andrew?
Yeah, this one I'm having trouble handicapping because obviously my Patriots fandom wants me to be on the Patriots side, but I'd be lying if I wouldn't say I'm a little concerned about the Bills.
Sure.
Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, last week they made the comeback against the Bengals. Yes, Bengals helped out with some turnovers, but
a lot.
Who's the best player on the field on Sunday? Is it
Josh Allen?
So that's what concerns me about, Patriots are going to take care of business, especially because the Patriots' red zone defense is terrible and the offensive line is still banged up. Again, it didn't show up against the Giants, but it may show up against someone like the Buffalo Bills. So that's where I get a little bit concerned. I think for me, it's, hey, I want to bet on both quarterbacks just smashing in this matchup. So it would be the over for me at 48 points.
Look, I think it's my fandom working the opposite way, where I'm like, oh, okay, don't go. But I think it's the Patriots. I think it's just their time. Again, I just think they are confident. They're prepared. They're going to have a whole week now ahead with this bye of rest, not to mention of work. They're just focusing on the timing of this game on the schedule to them, coming off a bye and coming off those 10 wins in a row. This is it couldn't be in a better place for them to win this football game and find a way. So give me Pats on the money line plus money. All right, the Jets. Oh, the Jets versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, 11.5. It's a big number here. The Jags are favorites, plus 12.5. You can get the Jets to cover. 41.5 for the over, 42.5 the under, plus 614 on the money line for the Jets upset. Andrew, the Jets didn't go the way you thought they were last week. Tua apparently loves the cold. Apparently, he's a big fan of the cold. Or maybe it wasn't cold enough. I don't know. Or maybe it was just the Jets. But can the Jacksonville Jaguars cover such a huge number in 11.5?
Okay, well, the Jets lost their starting quarterback. So let's be clear with that. I didn't make the Jets bet
Fair.
assuming that Tyrod Taylor was going to play like one drive and then get injured and then have a third string quarterback come in. So again, obviously it didn't work out with the Jets. This to me screams like a Jacksonville letdown spot. I mean, like super double digit favorites. They're feeling themselves. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to run away with the division. We just beat up on the Colts. I think that this is kind of a trap game for the Jags. So even though it is at home, Jets plus 12.5. Again, we'll see what the quarterback situation is. Obviously, we'd like to see Tyrod Taylor back, even Justin Fields back there under center, not a third string quarterback. So right now, I don't really see a lot of value on betting on this. I just want to see what the Jets quarterback situation looks like. But I'm leaning towards maybe Jacksonville is a little bit overrated here, just a big spread. And they have been volatile at times this year.
I'll take the Jaguars with the 11.5. I think this line can only get worse as it goes. That's why I say, Justin Fields, can he play? Will he want to play? Who knows what's going on? I think Jacksonville knows now that they're in the pole position here. That Daniel Jones injury really opened up that lane for them. The big W against the Colts, another win at home against the Colts, as they always do. I'll take the Jags 11.5 before it becomes 13.5 by Friday. All right, Las Vegas and Philadelphia again. We don't know what comes of the Eagles this week on Monday Night Football, but in the meantime, they're 12.5 point favorites at home against the Raiders. Plus 13.5 is the best number you're getting on them. 38.5 for the over, 39.5 for the under, plus 750 on the upset special money line for Vegas. Andrew, any early value on the Eagles Raiders?
See, this is one where I would feel more comfortable laying the points with Philly because now you're getting another situation where Geno Smith might not play in this game because he's all sorts of banged up. Raiders can't block anybody. Their offensive line is terrible, and then you have to go on the road to Philadelphia. How much of a fight are the Raiders going to put up here? Like, let's be realistic. The season is lost. They're 2-11. Everyone's going to get fired. It seems like if I'm going to lay heavy points, it's going to be on the Eagles at home against a lifeless Raiders team where at least the Jets will show some fight with Aaron Glenn. So I'll take the Eagles here.
All right, next up on our schedule, before we get to the Washington Commanders and Giants, quick shout out and reminder too that we have the BettingPros app, still with all the best tools in the business to help you be more successful at sports wagering. So if things haven't gone your way this year, maybe you should try the BettingPros app. Again, don't be a tool, use the tools. Let us help you. We can track all your bets for you. We've got the prop bet cheat sheet, same game parlay tool, all of the tools that make betting fun, easier, and the insights that make you just better at betting. And that's what we want to be here. Next up here, the Washington Commanders. Jane Daniels hurt again. The New York Giants coming off their bye. They are 1.5 point favorites at home, plus 2.5 for the Commanders here. On the road, 46.5 for the over-under, plus 116 on the money line for the Washington Commanders, minus 122 for the Giants. This game's a stay away for me, dog. I don't know about you.
Sam, I really have nothing else to add here. Two dysfunctional franchises with problems. Jane Daniels banged up again. I don't really have any reads on this game. So on to the next one.
On to the next one, indeed. Green Bay, Denver. There we go. Some fun defenses in this one. 1.5 point favorites. The Green Bay Packers on the road against the Denver Broncos, plus 2.5. 41.5 for the over, 42.5 for, just 42 flat for the under. Minus 123 for Green Bay on the money line, plus 116. The lines, I think, are really good here. I think they're tight for a reason. I think the over-under is right on. I don't think there's any value that I can see on this line that I want to jump in early. Andrew, do you see things differently?
I like the Green Bay side here. I think that Green Bay, just top to bottom, is the better, better overall team than the Denver Broncos are. So I'll take the Packers in the tight spread here, even on the road.
Finally, here we get to the Los Angeles Rams and Detroit Lions. This one is in LA. The Rams are 4 point favorites. Detroit plus 4.5. Underdogs on the road as they travel to LA. 52.5 for the over. 53.5 the under. This could have big playoff implications. This game here is seeding is looking around here. Plus 206 right now for the Detroit Lions money line. Look, I think the Rams are the better team. Do I think they can win this game by a touchdown? I do. Rams outside of Detroit, not always the same team, but it is a controlled environment, which makes it tricky. I'll take the Rams here with the points, which is 4. Andrew, how about yourself?
I like the Lions, especially if I'm catching 5.5 points. They're on the road, but we know the Rams don't really have home field advantage and you're getting dome conditions. So I like that for the Lions offensive side of the football. And the Lions also have extended rest. So coming off the Thursday night game, a little bit more time to prepare for the Los Angeles Rams, who, like we kind of predicted, took out business, took out their rage on the Arizona Cardinals, basically destroying them last week. I do like the Rams better when they're on the road. You should get more value on them at home, maybe a little bit overvalued here. So I like the Lions here. Again, anytime you're getting more than a field goal with a Dan Campbell team, it's usually a pretty good bet to make.
All right, the Indianapolis Colts without Daniel Jones the rest of the season, now 10.5-point underdogs on the road against Seattle, 42.5 for the over, 3.5 for the under, plus 500 for the Colts money line. I'll take the under 43.5. I'm going to be really concerned that the Colts offense is going to operate properly here as they pivot away from Daniel Jones. And Seattle at home has been really good. That defense is really strong. It's a tough spot here for the Colts as it looks like their season is kind of on the brink of falling apart.
Yeah, it's really hard to think. Riley Leonard coming in, probably going to start. Again, technically, Anthony Richardson is eligible to come off the injured reserve if he is healthy enough to play. We don't know if he is healthy enough because he's recovering from that eye injury. So that is problematic. I guess for me, Riley Leonard is kind of an interesting quarterback, though. Again, experience from Notre Dame, and what he has always been praised for is this guy's going to die on the field for his teammates, right? Just praised for a lot of leadership now. That's all nice on paper. What does it mean when you have to go to Seattle? So I would probably stay away from the sides here just because he is more mobile than Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones was dealing with that fibula injury, so maybe there is an element of a surprise factor here from the Colts offense. Shane Steichen's get a full week with Ryan Leonard as the starting quarterback. A lot of good weapons there, so I think maybe we get some points here, maybe. So maybe I would actually lean towards the over here at 42.5. Again, I was on the under last week for Seattle and the Atlanta Falcons, and that blew up in my face because that game went over because Seattle just dominated that game. So if I go over here, I get a couple outs. Seattle blows out the Colts, game goes over, or maybe we see a little bit more from Riley Leonard in his first start in the Shane Steichen offense. Maybe we see them pop off a little bit with some of these offensive playmakers. So I'll probably dive a little bit more deep into this match. Interested to see where the Lions go here with a unproven quarterback.
Right, the Colts we're talking about, not the Lions.
I said Lions?
I think you did.
I don't think I did.
Did you say the Lines?
The Lines.
The Lines
go?
The
Lines.
Oh, the Lions.
Where the Lines go.
Not roar. Where the lines go,
the
not the Lions go.
We already talked about the Lions.
We did. That's what I mean. We already talked about the Lions. Let's talk about the Titans because we have to. The Titans plus 13.5 travel to San Francisco minus 12, 43.5 for the over, 45.5 for the under, plus 750 for the money line here. Look, this should be a squash for the San Francisco 49ers, especially coming off that bye. CMC is going to run amok. I want all the overs on CMC props I can possibly handle. 12, is it a lot? Yes. I don't know. Just give me CMC props. I'm going to stay away from the game. How about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of really heavy favored home teams this week, which I don't like because I'm always a sucker for the double-digit home underdog. That's a attack I like to make when it comes to the betting side. But when they're at home, it makes it much trickier to bet on some of these underdogs here. So are the Titans going to be my team that I want to bet catching 2 touchdowns on the road? Probably not, especially after a win. How many games are they going to actually play that well? I'm a little suspect on that. So I think, you're right.
I'd love to see it. I would love nothing more than the Tennessee Titans to go to San Francisco and whoop them. I mean, that would be hilarious. I just don't want to invest in it.
I think you're right. Just CMC multi-touchdowns, probably get some decent odds on. Probably not decent odds, actually. But hey, as long as it hits, you'll make some money. So maybe, Christian McCaffrey props.
7.5 to 1 on the money line for the Tennessee Titans. All right, Carolina Panthers coming off a bye and the New Orleans Saints coming off a win. This one's in New Orleans, plus 2.5. Are the New Orleans Saints underdogs at home, minus 2.5 for the Carolina Panthers, 39 for the over, 40.5 for the under, minus 130 on the money line for Carolina, plus 124 for New Orleans. Andrew, any early line love on this game?
My Carolina Panthers, again. Why are they favorites here? I guess they are the better team against the New Orleans Saints, but we've seen this with Carolina. Once the market is, okay, we're in on Carolina, they're the number 1 team to let you down the following week. The thing that's interesting about Carolina, they are 6-0 against the spread after they lose. 6-0. But they're not coming off a loss, which is why I get concerned here. They are coming off a bye week, so maybe that does change the perspective a little bit on them. I'm going to have to look more at the trends for this particular matchup because I have a ticket for Panthers to win the division, right? I still think that's in the range of outcomes. Tampa Bay has really fallen off these last couple of weeks. We know we have a couple Carolina-Tampa Bay matchups coming up still, so we'll see how the division shakes out. But I guess I want to go back to my Panthers here, but I would be lying if I said I felt really, really confident about it.
And before we get to the last 2 games, which were primetime games, the Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, I got a hot take for you, Andrew.
All right.
Because I'm still stewing about the Patriots Bills game a little bit. You know how everyone keeps talking about Drake May hasn't had a 300-yard passing game all year?
Mm-hmm.
I think Drake May has a 300-yard passing game against the Buffalo Bills. That's what I think. How about the first one for Buffalo to win the division? How about them apples? There's a hot take. Let's clip this, see if I'm right or wrong. All right, let's go. Minnesota, Dallas here. Dallas Cowboys could be without CeeDee Lamb for this game. Early going. Again, he's in concussion protocol. They are a touchdown favorite, -6 against the Minnesota Vikings, who showed some signs of life, just not for Justin Jefferson. But J.J. McCarthy played better in an unexpected blowout of the Commanders. Yikes, what a crazy game that was. +6.5. for the Vikings here in this game on the road. 47.5 for the over, 48.5 for the under, +260 on the money line for the Minnesota Vikings. So Andrew, what do you think here? You just want to go over on the 47.5? Because that's what I want to do.
That's usually what I want to do, but Dallas still, I think that their defense with the pass rush they can generate, I think that's going to present a lot of problems for JJ McCarthy. So I actually like Dallas here laying the 6 points. The Vikings, going back to when teams give us this false sense of confidence, the Vikings, after a win, are 0-4 against the spread. So basically, after they win a game, we think, okay, like maybe they're improving. Maybe something's going to happen here. They lay an egg the following week. Dallas coming off extra rest, like we talked about with the Lions. Again, we're bringing up the Lions again, but the mini bye week after playing on Thursday night, I think Dallas finds a way to actually cover the 6 points. So give me the Cowboys at home.
How many points do you think the Vikings score?
I mean, they might
What do you think they get to?
17 to 20, probably in that range.
Here's why I'm taking the over at 47.5, because the Cowboys are averaging 33 points at home this year. So you don't need much from the Vikings, is what I'm saying. You don't need much, not that much. So if you give me 17 and the Cowboys give me 30 plus, hey, we're right in that neighborhood, baby.
And it also means the Cowboys cover the 6 points too. So you're with me with Dallas.
So I guess we're all together here on this one. All right, last one here. The Miami Dolphins coming off a victory of the Jets, and the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a win. They are at home for Monday Night Football, -3. You got +3.5 for the Miami Dolphins, 42.5 at even money for the over, 43.5 for the under, +169 on the money line for the Miami Dolphins. Look, Pittsburgh Steelers are a bit of an enigma to me, I'll be honest with you. So are the Miami Dolphins. If anything, I'll take the Dolphins for the 3.5 just to make it interesting, but I don't love it. I got to be honest with you. I just don't love this game. Probably should just stay away from it. Maybe the under 43.5. Maybe that's where you want to live. I don't know.
Never wrong, just early. I think I was a week too early on the Tua implosion with interceptions. Just 1 week early. So I think it's this week now because they're not favored this time. They were favored against the Jets, something I probably overlooked. They are underdogs now, still outside, still in the cold, and this time it's at night. So even colder conditions, Joe. So I'm going to bet against Tua 2 weeks in a row. Maybe he burns me 2 weeks in a row. But I would say, again, how do you attack Pittsburgh? You run the football. Achane, a little bit banged up. So if he's not 100%, I know he got hurt a little bit last week. They said it wasn't a major concern, but coaches say this all the time. And then it ends up being, he didn't practice all week. So if Achane is limited in any capacity and Tua has to force into a drop back type of mode, this is the steel curtain all the way on Monday Night Football. So I will go with the Steelers here, especially when it's at a field goal at -3. Take care of business against Tua, turn the ball over.
It's not so much a steel curtain anymore. It's more like a drape. Like it's not, it's like a.
Doesn't really stop the cold from getting in.
Like the cheap blinds with a little plastic swizzle stick thing. That's more smart with the Pittsburgh defense at this point. It was good enough to beat the Ravens, though. Scott Bogman's a happy man. All right, remember, you can always follow us on the BettingPros app, too, to see what we're betting. And, of course, download that BettingPros app, along with the Sportsbook as well for Hard Rock Bet. And, of course, we'll be here on the channel. Subscribe for more help for all of Week 15. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.